Japan is completely overhauling the rules of entry and residence for every foreign national stepping onto its soil. On May 29th, the House of Councilors formally passed the amended Immigration Control and Refugee Recognition Act by majority vote. This legislation operates on two distinct tracks. It establishes a strict digital screening process for incoming tourists, while simultaneously raising the legal fee ceilings for foreign residents already living and working in the country. This means the millions of foreign workers, students, and spouses who regularly navigate Japan's immigration bureaucracy are about to face a very different financial reality. The government is upgrading its immigration infrastructure to be faster and more secure. The core conflict in this new law is that the high cost of building that infrastructure is being passed directly to the people standing in line. For tourists and short-term visitors, the changes happen before they even pack their bags. The government is planning to introduce a system called JESTA during fiscal year 2028. The Japan Electronic System for Travel Authorization, or JESTA, functions much like the ASTA system used in the United States. It requires visitors from visa-exempt countries to declare their travel details online for mandatory digital pre-screening. The goal is to catch potential illegal overstays before a passenger ever boards their flight. Japan's external border is moving. It no longer starts at a physical arrival desk but on a digital screen thousands of miles away. While tourists face new digital checks, the people crossing the internal border, long-term residents renewing visas or changing status are facing steep financial increases. This bar chart visualizes the scale of the new fee caps. Currently, an application for permanent residence has a legal fee ceiling of 10,000 yen. Under the new law, that legal limit shoots up to 300,000 yen, and it extends to standard procedures too. The legal cap for general visa renewals and changes of status is jumping from 4,000 yen to 100,000 yen. A routine administrative checkup to maintain legal residency can now carry the price tag of a major life expense. During committee debates, Justice Minister Hiraguchi Hiroshi defended the hikes, arguing that the system must generate revenue to cover the rising costs of digital immigration processing and application reviews. The government also maintains that this additional revenue will fund vital coexistence support programs like providing Japanese language education to foreign residents. Opposition lawmakers countered by focusing on the math-facing ordinary people. A single mother with 3 children on a 1-year visa, for example, could be looking at a massive annual bill just to keep her family legally housed and stable in the country. This financial tightening extends to business owners as well. The capital requirement for a management visa is jumping from 5 million to 30 million yen. The government claims this massive increase is necessary to crack down on fraudulent paper companies. But look at what this pie chart reveals about that justification. Based on recent internal investigations, only about 1% of reviewed management visas belong to businesses lacking actual substance. The other 99% are legitimate working businesses that will now be unfairly punished by an enormous capital barrier. This leaves a lingering, difficult political question. Is this simply a practical shift toward a system where the beneficiary pays for administrative costs? Or is it a toll booth that creates crippling financial instability for the people who keep the economy running? For foreign residents currently living in Japan, the most important step is separating panic from policy. These changes are not immediate. The new fees are slated for implementation during fiscal year 2026. It is also crucial to note the difference between a legal cap and an actual price. The law establishes the highest possible amount the government is allowed to charge. The final price list will be set later by government orders and could fall well below these absolute maximums. Furthermore, the Ministry of Justice indicated there will be case-by-case exemptions for individuals facing genuine economic hardship, though exact criteria remain undefined. The best strategy right now is preparation. Residents should begin factoring immigration costs into their long-term savings and ensure all application documents are pristine to avoid the costly penalty of having to reapply. Whether you are a tourist looking ahead to JESTA in 2028 or a long-term resident budgeting for 2026, the message is clear. Japan has rebuilt its borders into a tightly controlled, highly digital environment, and the user is picking up the check. On May 29, 2026, Japan's parliament dismantled an immigration fee system that had remained frozen for 44 years. For decades, residency fee ceilings sat at 10,000 yen. Under new limits, visa renewals hit 100,000 yen and permanent residency climbs to 300,000. This shift is driven by a record 4.13 million foreign residents, breaking a framework built for a smaller population. The sheer volume of annual applicants is now physically overwhelming the country's low-cost processing infrastructure. To manage the strain, the government is launching JESTA, an electronic travel authorization system that will require pre-screening for all visa-exempt arrivals starting in 2028. Developing these digital security systems requires significant capital. Japan is pivoting to a model where foreign residents directly fund the infrastructure that manages their stay. When the 300,000 yen figure hit the headlines, it triggered immediate concern across the resident community. But the law contains a specific bureaucratic distinction that limits the immediate impact at the window. The new law utilizes a dual-layered regulatory framework. The 300,000 yen figure is the statutory cap, the absolute legal ceiling allowed by Parliament, not the actual price an applicant pays today. The actual price at the counter is set by a cabinet order. This is an executive mechanism that dictates the current fee, which the government keeps well below the legislative limit. This structure gives the government the flexibility to raise fees incrementally over several decades, adjusting for inflation or administrative costs without needing to pass a new bill through the Diet. When the new rates take effect in fiscal 2026, the old flat fee model will be replaced. Instead, Japan will use a tiered system that charges applicants based on the length of the visa they are granted. Based on government targets, short-term stays will cost roughly 10,000 yen. A standard one-year work visa forms the first major step at 30,000 yen. The next step covers the 5-year visa, with the government aiming for a target price of approximately 70,000 yen. At the very top is permanent residency. It remains below the absolute statutory cap, but the government intends to set the window fee for these applications at 200,000 yen. While these operational fees are lower than the legal maximums, the tiered structure creates a financial penalty for entry-level workers. Those on repeating one-year contracts will pay significantly more over a decade than a professional with a 5-year stay. A 200,000 yen baseline cost changes the psychology of residency. A permanent residency card now carries the weight of a major financial investment for a foreign worker. There is also a new gate in the application pipeline. Starting in March 2027, Japan will implement a rule that bars anyone without a 5-year visa from applying for permanent residency, funneling all long-term candidates through a more rigorous screening process. This financial burden will quickly move from the individual to the employer. For many companies, these tiered fees will become a significant line item in their human resources budgets. Companies now need to audit the visa timelines of their foreign staff and establish clear internal rules for who covers these rising renewal and residency costs. In a competitive labor market, covering these fees or offering visa sign-on bonuses will become a mandatory tool for attracting and retaining international talent. By dismantling the 1982 system, Japan matches the high-cost structures used in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Germany. The end of the flat fee era forces every stakeholder to realign. In modern Japan, long-term residency has been redefined as a premium privilege that carries a substantial price tag.